Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 1, Chapter 7, Text 45. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrī Parīkṣit uvāca. Itthaṁ sa-puṣpa-vikṣepaṁ. Vadan dṛṣṭvā diśo khilāḥ. Itthaṁ sa-cumbanam āliṅgya. Sa go-gopaiḥ saṅgato grataḥ. Śrī Parīkṣit continued. Having said this, Krishna threw a handful of flowers at Śrī Rādhā, looked all around, and then embraced and kissed her. He then went ahead to meet the cows and the cowherd boys. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha. Śrī Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, greetings from Moscow. You saw the picture of me, that's Shanti Shakti. That's about 35-40 minutes from here. A little bit more suburban, beautiful gated community. And I've come today to do a program at, I guess, a disciple's place. And it's a very interesting place. I'm only about 3 blocks from the Kremlin, which is the Upper East Side of Moscow. And Moscow itself, things run on different levels. There's governments that are at war, and then there are people that they may have patriotic feelings, but they run kind of differently. Moscow is spotlessly clean. Spotlessly. I don't even see one piece of paper on the floor. It's really beautiful. And the people, they're more connected with tradition and culture than other countries, I think, especially in the West. Family and tradition. They're very, so it's really nice. And I've had some nice programs at our place. I'll send some pictures of Shanti Shakti. And the programs are not advertised. It's not really, I came in dressed with my I came in, dressed in my disguise, but it's really not. American passport, boom, in. But technically, people on tourist visas should not come here for religious purposes, especially to propagate. So it wasn't always like this. But I mentioned before, although they give permits for beautiful Harinam with the dancing girls, right in the middle of the city here. But that's something. I don't think they're too hept on it unless it's public. So nothing is really advertised. But here on Wednesday night in this place, they have kirtan, and Moscow rivals any place with the kirtaniers. They're fantastic. They're fabulous. And the place itself is very enlivening and interesting because for the old buildings, when the communists came, they divided all the big apartments into 4 or 5, but this one is maybe one of the 5 that stays as it is. So this is actually 7 rooms, which you can imagine near the Kremlin. And the great-grandfather of Sundar Govinda, he was the head of the Bolshoi Ballet. He was one of the 3 most famous opera singers in the history of Russia. And I feel they have a piano here. I think Rachmaninoff, the famous composer, gave them a piano. It's a bit like a museum. And they host kirtan every Wednesday night. So that even hasn't put up. People will be surprised, but the room will be packed. And I'll come for the kirtan. So it's been really enlivening, really nice. And I'll stay here and I'll give class tomorrow evening. Today, just do the kirtan a half hour, and then the weekend I'll visit a city of about 2 hours away of 2 disciples that I have here. Very amazing, pious, beautiful family. And there's a Namhata there, so we'll go there. And so it's safe and nice, and the weather is kind of beautiful at this time of the year. And I was surprised because I always came in the winter, and I had the impression that the only thing that grows in Russia, but it's the world's biggest country, is beets and carrots and potatoes. But the fruits have been amazing. Peaches and different types of berries, and so anyway, it's just nice to share Krishna consciousness. And I'll have to leave a little early because I wasn't even sure I'd have class, because I'm invited. Lunch here would be at 3:00, and right now it's I probably have maybe a half hour, but so this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Rasa Shastra. It's not just to give you an understanding, it's to communicate a feeling of what perfected love is, as demonstrated by the Brajavasis, but to accept that and feel that, you have to take away the filter of your desires and your ignorance. So it's both philosophical and experiential. And we've been following this story, I think, for a few years, and it's really beautiful. And, Narada Muni caused such a stir, when he was pointed to Uddhava as the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. It caused such a stir because he was pointing to the gopis, and there was a contention. You've all been with me, that contention. Whether their suffering indicates that they're the topmost recipients of Krishna's mercy or the most unfortunate people in the world because of the degree of their suffering. from the standpoint of tattva, or just looking at it philosophically, they're the most fortunate people in the world, and from the platform of rasa. But in the lila, kind of it appears that they're suffering. I have to say here too that I have a great setup there in Shanti Shakti, and I have a little darshan mandap, and I sit there in the morning. Somehow, by Krishna's grace, 20-hour flight, but I didn't really get so jet lagged. The only effect was that instead of going to bed at 8:30, I'm up to 11. Instead of waking up at 1 o'clock, I'm up at 5. But my job has been exceptionally special here, and I have no reason why. And we call that causeless mercy, because I'm irregulated. I'm not regulated. So what happens is I don't know what to do with myself from 8:30 to 10, because that's not in my life. So it's not so focused. So during the day, and usually your japa is connected to your life, but it's not, because it's so much better. And I had an experience, and I related, I think it can be related to the Shastra here, but maybe in a higher level in the Shastra, that the chanting went very deep. And I saw this dichotomy of pain and pleasure at the same time. Going deep means the exposing the false ego, exposing your lack of devotion, regret of how you led your life, and why it's taking so long to, whatever the case is. So and the fear of even going further, and exposing yourself even more. But at the same time, the feeling of mercy, which is love, which is such a beautiful feeling. So I kind of related that kind of, this kind of dichotomy where these contradictory feelings can exist in the same thing. But ultimately, it's love, and ultimately, it's pleasure. So we have these kind of feelings, and we know that Krishna was already feeling something, and then he wakes up, and he's absolutely devastated. And when the discussion comes with Balaram about how much the resonance of suffering, not just the cow is everything, Krishna being a person, God being a person, meaning that he's responsive to love, and he somehow feels the suffering in such a deep way, because Krishna is the absolute truth. So his love is the highest. His separation is the highest, because he also feels that from the point of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the emotion is so powerful that he goes in for what externally seems to be like a catatonic, state. And again, we were discussing this, bhakti sanjayate bhakti, and the separation, and then Krishna's feeling that separation. Krishna's feeling that separation, then his immediate family seeing him in that mood of suffering, overwhelming emotion. They have overwhelming emotion. It spreads to the whole Dwarka, till the whole Dwarka is crying, and there's omens, and Lord Brahma, and he comes and he feels it, and he latches this plan that the only thing that can save Krishna to bring him out of his catatonic state is to I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm definitely not tired. I slept. Is to put him in the illusion that he's in Bṛhad. So if he thinks he's in Bṛhad, because the separation from Braja is the cause of his suffering, the union with Vraja, even if it's an illusion, will be the cause of his getting out of it. So they bring him, we know they bring him to Nava Vrindavan on the bank of Garuda. Balaram wakes up, and now the drama is they put Krishna in his cowherd boy, Gopa Vesh, rather than his Raja Vesh, the Vesh of a king. His Gopa Vesh, they put him in his Gopa Vesh of a cowherd boy. And Balaram wakes up, he was also fainted. They put him on a bed and they moved the statues around him in such a way, and then put Rohini in the mix moving because she was from Vrindavan. So, and Balaram just washes his face, washes Krishna's face, and then grabs him and starts saying, you're late, the cows, and drags him around, and then Krishna wakes up, but he's still in Ardha Chaitana, half consciousness. So he's not fully, but he's getting out of that catatonic state, and he sees his mother with ghee, and he takes the ghee from her hand, and Rohini says, now we'll cook, and then he's off to the forest. He sees statues of Radharani, and he starts talking to her because she's not moving. He thinks that because it's an emotional state. So your emotion affects your senses and it affects your intelligence. So overwhelmed with this kind of emotion, how can he see properly? And he's so stimulated. Radharani, oh Radha, Radha. And he's thinking she's angry and talking and then took some flowers and threw it at her and looked around and then embraced her and kissed her, and then he went to meet the cowherds and the boys. And this all is a story or a history, whatever it is, but it's to bring out in Narada Muni's journey, Tasya Parama Antim, the topmost level of consciousness, which is love for Krishna. And Narada wants to find out who has it the most, because he wants to serve that person. And service creates a conduit to someone's heart. You get in their heart, then you feel their heart. Narada wants to feel their heart, wants to serve them, wants to be with them, wants to develop a relationship with him. This is the feelings of bhakti. So it's ridiculous that I'm yawning. I mean, simply because I'm be up till 10 o'clock at night with this kirtan. And I purposely, after breakfast, this morning I got up at 1, but purposely after breakfast, I forced myself to sleep as much as I could. So I don't know what this yawning attack is about. It's contagious. Adrishtapurvam vrajavisham abhutam mahamanogyam varali ravantitam yadan vabhut neha parena devaki tadaiva vridhap yajani snutastani. As Devaki saw for the first time how wonderfully and attractive Krishna was dressed for Vraja, and how he was playing the flute, milk started flowing from her breast in great love, even though she was no longer younger. So Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti. I explained that many times. He's a full embodiment of love. His personality is manifest in all relationships, and it's a more sweet conception than the beauty of seeing him in a position of authority, a king, or God. So those who have this relationship with him, which is a little more reverential, like Devaki, than Mother Yasoda, we see that when he first sees her son, she has those prayers. So purport. Krishna has special ecstatic feelings for his devotees as described in the previous several verses. This is the ultimate greatness of God. Reciprocally, Krishna's devotees have incomparable affection for him, which they each show in their individual ways. Rukmini, Jambavati, and other queens, bewildered by an intensity of love they have never felt before, lost their composure, fainted, and fell to the ground. These are ecstatic symptoms. They see Krishna, and it's a maha prem, gata moha, bewilderment of maha prem, dharya, composure, because losing their composure, apatam, shatau, they fall to the ground. All emotions just increasing and increasing. And this is the spiritual world. This emotion of love in the drama of Krishna Lila is just constantly increasing for God's enjoyment, because that's the essence of his Ladini Shakti, is Krishna Prem. And everyone enjoys in it, because love must have a subject and object. And they equally enjoy in that love, except the subject enjoys more. That's why God comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even old Padmavati became intoxicated, driven by lust. She as well as Satyabhama acted out, embracing and kissing Krishna again and again, and ran after him, arms extended to try to catch him. So, when I went to sports, I used to like sports, probably still do, but the announcers went, and the crowd went wild. So they just go wild with emotion. I remember my older brother, when the New York Giants won the Super Bowl. He's a sober guy, a very kind, nice, sober guy, not very wild at all. I think he was in the streets overturning cars. He was running, he was in the street hunking, and so because that's emotion, his bhav. My team win, and I enjoy the victory and the superiority. We're number one, the team is number one, the fans are number one, and the emotion gets transferred, and you lose yourself. I think my brother went crazy. So what to speak of seeing Krishna relate? They know it's a ruse, but they know that Krishna's emotions are real for Radharani, and they're seeing the sweetness of the cowherd boy. I don't know many verses, but I like that one. Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta natavaravapū karnio karni karyam Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta kanikakapisam vaijayanti shamala. Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, the dancer of Krishna, the peacock feather, the Vaijayanti mala, the golden dhoti, and it's just so beautiful and spontaneous. His heart comes out to the gopis. Another aspect of himself. He has his love for the queens, and they see his heart. but another aspect of himself that's even more intense. And because they love Krishna, they become even more attracted to Krishna. And they go wild. Puratad artha nubhavadiva so katachit aditya sutabalambhya shaman saman pragya parodadena Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta rorudate dive. Kalindi, the daughter of the sun god, had seen Krishna like this before, being very intelligent. She somehow calmed herself down. She and Uddhava grabbed Satyabhama and Padmavati and dragged them back. So Kalindi is the Jamuna, takes also her manifestation in Dwarka as the Gopi Kalindi. So she's not as startled because she's seen this before, although her love is manifest. And Uddhava is, the most sober person, so they stop this. And it's purport. It says the fact is that they also had to struggle to remain calm just to help Brahma carry out his plan for dispelling. Because if they ran in and then Krishna saw the queens of Dwarka, he'd understand this was just a ruse, and he would go back into his catatonic state because he's only Arda Chaitanya, he's only half conscious now. Govinda Devas Tvanucharayam ga gataparastad udadhim narikshya tamanyamano chamunam pramodhat sakim viharaya samajuhava. Meanwhile, Lord Govinda went ahead tending his cows. When he saw the ocean before him, he thought it was the Jamuna, and with delight he called his friends to come play in the river. Purport. The scene now focuses again on Krishna. The Arabian Sea rings Dwarka like a fortress moat, and its dark blue color made Krishna think it was the river Jamuna. So how ecstatic. Even when I used to go to Braj, I don't do this more, I go to Govardhan, but I always try to bathe when I get there, either in Radhakund or the Jamuna. So when I come, I used to have my taxi driver drive right up to Keshi Ghat. Before I even went to my apartment, and I always wore a bathing suit under my, I guess going to India, I used to wear dhotis. Now I wear pants, just practical. It's more suited for a plane for many, many reasons. And I used to just bathe in the Jamuna, and it was so ecstatic. How it elevates the consciousness, what to speak. It's conscious, it's actually a conscious entity flowing with all the waves. There's so many emotions, ecstatic emotions for Krishna, and sometimes expanding its water and overflowing at Krishna's feet and offering the flowers. It's just, so what to speak? Krishna going to tend his cows, he sees the Jamuna, and it's Udipan. Udipan means like a match. So Udipan are the things that are like a match to our hearts that inflame with bhakti. Gata kutra vayasyasta Sridhamam Subalarjuna Sarve Bhavanto Davanto Vegena Yantu Harshita. My dear friends, where have you gone? O Shribam, Subal, Arjuna, happily come here quickly. Yeah, I'm at the Jamuna. It's so beautiful. Come. Krishnayam payayit vaga viharama yatasukam madura mala sitambu vahiyam avagayacha. So we can let our cows drink water from this river Jamuna, and we can play as much as we want, swimming in her gently flowing, clear, cool water. So it's an inspiration for Krishna, but it's an inspiration for us, because the Jamuna is an udipan for our, especially when I first came to Braja. It was austere in many ways. There was no real electricity. You couldn't get sweet water for drinking. There was no bottled water. You didn't buy anything outside. You were in ashram. But when you go to the Jamuna, and I would live there in the summer, the Jamuna was flowing so swiftly and clean. Now it goes, the sewer system under Delhi, the water of the Jamuna comes. So now they're trying to clean it up. And even sadhus sometimes recommend don't bathe in it. Well, the people bathe anyway. And it was flowing swiftly, and we would dive off the cliffs. I can't imagine my good fortune, although there was so much pressure in seva. When you have a mission, there's going to be troubles, but that trouble is an expression of your love, and it's good for your heart. But we were missionaries. We had a mission. We weren't there to enjoy, or, we had a mission. But you go to the Jamuna and diving off the cliffs. Evam magre sarangobir ambude niyatam gata mahakalola malabi kalohala vato chuta. Then Lord Chuta went on further with the cows and neared the sea, where mighty roaring waves came in one after another. Boom, emotion for Krishna, emotion for Krishna, emotion for Krishna. The wind is not blowing, it's loving. The river is not flowing, it's loving. Everything is loving. That's energy of love, the ultimate reality, rasa vaisaha. Sarvato vriksha tattire prakatam swam mahapurim alaksha kim idam kwayam ko ityaha vismata. When Krishna looked around the seacoast, he noticed his own great city visible in the distance. Krishna is surprised and exclaimed, "Where is this? Where am I? Who am I?" So now what happens is Krishna sees his Dwarka, and Lord Brahma and Balaram's plan works, and then he's going to go back to the palace, and the exchanges with the queens, and him revealing his heart, about how much he loves Vrindavan, loves Radharani and the gopis, resolves all these issues of tension that were there in the previous chapter of why Krishna didn't go back, why the residents are suffering, and why they're the topmost recipients of Krishna's mercy, and why we should follow in their footsteps. Because more likely than not, our souls are to serve Krishna in that way, which is why Krishna has arranged for us, again, to be born in this body in the same minute that him and Lord Chaitanya appear. Okay, I'm going to have to go within probably 10 minutes, but we can, Jamuna Jaya is there. Is she there today? I don't think she's here. Okay, Gail?
Hey, Krishna Maharaj. There's a term that occurred to me.
Wait, now I have to put on my hearing aids.
Oh,
I forgot to bring the batteries here, so I'm trying to save them. So 1 second. Go ahead. What you saying?
Yeah, it was just, I guess it was a comment / question. When you were mentioning that Krishna is Akila Rasamrita
Murti. Yeah.
Murti. Yeah. So this term occurred to me. He is like the desire tree of relationships, right? Because any relationship a person may want with him, he can have.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. He's the desire tree of relationships, right? In perfection.
In
And he's the
perfection.
perfect object of love for all relationships. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you for class.
Yeah, lately you've been such an ocean of mercy. I thought you had me at a weak point. I got jet lag. I'm a little tired. You throw one of those
See,
trick
I'm
questions.
not as hard as I look.
Okay. A few more people say hello.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Tota Gopinath here. So great to hear from you, and you look so sharp in your disguise.
Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, my fashion designer. Everyone is commenting on the combination. Yeah, okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much for your class. Thank you for this great taste and this feeling of love that you give to us every time. Thank you.
I saw Krishna-namrita on our program on Sunday. She came, even though she was sick, because I got a note you were sick, but you still came. And somehow, she brought me a mango from Israel, where her daughter lives. So that was very tasty. Okay, thank you. Haribo. Good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Radha.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Sham Kishore Das.
Beautiful class, Maharaj.
Now, Sham Kishore, the leader of the revolution. Yeah, okay.
He was just saying that you look so elegant, Maharaj, with that shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think Sham Kishore would one day like to visit Russia. I know he has that. It's really been nice. I haven't been here in the summer. Weather is ideal. You need an air condition, but it's very nice. And people are really nice here. It's great. Okay. Ishwari, Haribo.
Sorry about that. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay. On your way to work? Nice.
On my way to work, yeah. Thank you for class. Yeah, I love the shirt. It's so interesting to see you outside of your dhoti. It's cool.
Well, okay, it is. Okay, Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Gurudev. Thank you very much for the class.
Sundari, Hare Krishna. Nice to see you. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Always on the class. Great. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Garage, it's all Govinda. Thank you for class.
Okay. Tell Braja everyone is complimenting her taste. I give her full credit.
I will.
Just as when those lunches came, I gave her full credit for all the lunches that you brought on Mondays.
It's the truth.
Anyway, it's people the pants are a little bit brown. People like that. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Very well.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, to see that. Thank you for your consistency with giving class even during your travels when your schedule's a little thrown off.
Thank you for your consistency of being in the classes. That's the Prabhupada, when he's with Bhakti Siddhanta, when Prabhupada took initiation, they introduced him because he wasn't one of, but he said he likes to hear. So that's the best qualification. Okay. Thank you. Haribo. Actually, what I'll do for now is I'll show you the place a bit. We'll have some fun.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Haribo.
Arman, nice to see you. Arman. Okay. Okay, it's a Haribo, 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 Haribo. We can't see. It's an old, it's like a museum. All these paintings on the wall, they're actually by famous artists, and they were gifted to his great-grandfather. His grandfather was a famous author, and his father was a famous photographer. So when devotees heard that he came to Krishna consciousness and they heard his name, it was like pretty good. This is where I'll take my lunch. There's only one of the 7 rooms. And when Javi stayed here, he said this was the best piano he ever played. That's a bust of his grandfather. So many things. More paintings on the wall. Where are you?
Заходи в кадр.
Where?
Махарадж пытается показать.
Okay.
Всем.
Okay.
Круто, да.
You know those beautiful pictures of me and Govardhan? They were taken by Nilambar. So here are the Brahmins. Oh, Haribo. Oh. Malini, tell her that Gail's, tell her mother like to see her. Can you come? Come. No? You won't come yet? Come. Gail, this is Malini.
Right? Nilambari? Oh, no, Malini.
Yeah,
This is Malini?
Yeah, this is Shameshwari's friend, Malini.
Hey, Krishna, Malini. I'm Shameshwari's mommy. It's so nice to meet you. I saw precious pictures of you in Shameshwari's arms, and I loved it so much. You seem like such a sweet little girl. It's so nice to finally meet you and see your beautiful smile.
Nilambari, you should meet. Yeah, this is the mother. Meet the mother too.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nilambari. Wow, so nice to see you.
Malini is shy, sorry.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I'm in love with your music. There's especially the one where you did about Tulsi Devi.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I could play that. That song is going to take me back home.
Malini is singing it in the beginning of the song.
I know, it's so precious. Yeah, I recognize.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll head out now. Okay, why don't you
Thank
go?
you, Maharaj. Thank you.